Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, there we go. Welcome back to the show. Now, I have literally just come back in from pub quiz. We've came fifth place. But anyway, resentment we're going to talk about this evening. Resentment is a dumb game. That's a quote from this Bob Proctor podcast. I've listened to it another 4 or 5 times today. Loving every second. And it's weird how you listen to this thing. And he actually says this. That the more you listen to it, there's more things. And it's funny when you go and watch a film and you watch it again and again, you start to see different parts in it. And usually the better the story, the more things that you'll be able to pull out at further points or the next time you listen to it. And it's the same with this podcast for me. And it's the same with quite a few of the modern thinkers of the day. Resentment, though, this quote, resentment is a dumb game. Hits every time. Now, it reminds me of a quote that actually also a fellow Canadian thinker and philosopher, Jordan Peterson, he talks about the evil triad of spirits. We've got arrogance, deceit, and resentment. And he talks about resentment at quite length when I was listening to some of his content about 5-6 years ago. The aim of the game, all right, is that you actually need to forget all about all of that. Push it to a side, move forward, is what I'm taking from that. You can only move forward, however, if you have leverage. Now, that is one of the biggest things that I have struggled with, because I've not known how to move forward, because I've felt like I've been mentally stuck in a ball in a cage. I felt like an oil tanker in a bird cage. It's been tough to try and see what has been the right course of action. And the only person that actually made sense to this resentment, or trying to tackle resentment, was to try and find leverage. And it joins in with a thought later on of create the space for the good that you desire. You need to create space. Now, I felt mentally that I didn't have space. And it was Tony Robbins that was the one that actually mentioned you need to find leverage. Now, for that to me connected those two thoughts. The resentment's a dumb game. How do you get out of it? You need to create leverage to find the space that you want to desire for the good that you desire. Another thought or thinker is Benjamin Zander. Now, his TED Talk about 7 years ago, I would say, changed my thinking. And in a weird way, made me very lonely because I didn't meet anybody else like him. But his passion and zest for life. He's a musical conductor. He's from England, but lives in Boston. And he's the principal conductor of the Boston Pops and Philharmonic Orchestra. And he talks about cynicism. And all these different concepts or ideas or mindsets, resentment, cynicism. This quote for me has always hit hard. A cynic is a passionate person who doesn't want to be disappointed again. He talks about somebody that is very well knows and very passionate about a specific topic, but it's been rejected at some point. So the body is contracted, the body's away, and their voice hasn't been heard, or their soul hasn't been expressed, and they don't want to feel that rejection again. So they're closed off, and that is cynicism. And it's with those 3 things in mind, certainly in the last few weeks, I've made decisions of taking quite a lot of the social media off my phone, which I've mentioned in previous videos. And because there's a lot of we're getting bombarded with information that is to bring us down. There's enough negative people in this world, but on top of news media organizations, politics, obviously the wars that are happening, even watching some of the TV and the shows, People are dragging you down into resentment, into cynicism. People want to keep you down. There's that tall poppy syndrome, particularly in Britain. If you're positive, hey, shut the hell up. We don't want to be too positive here. We don't want to bring you down. So I would say I've been quite cynical about life for a number of years, even with a positive exterior. There's been this sort of curled upness inside of me, wanting to express, wanting to go on an adventure, wanting to live. Bob mentions that you have to focus on the ideal. Focus on the image. And it's the same thing that Tony Robbins, Jordan Peterson, and Benjamin Zander talk about. You need to think about the overarching image, the overarching vision. Don't think about in this short-termness, or as Benjamin Zander talks about, downward spiral or spiral thinking. One of them in the classical media, classical music sort of media would be, there's only 3% of the population are interested in classical music. If we could get it to 4%, our lives would be over, or our lives would change because the money would come in because of the short or small amount of people that buy tickets because we're running out of money. None of the teenagers are interested in classical music anymore because all they want to do is watch MTV. If we could change that, our fortunes would change forever. It's all about short-termness. It's all about thinking. It's all about the environment. It's what they're seeing in this moment. Apologies for the wee sniffle. What you need to be thinking about, though, is none of that. You need to have faith. Faith is the ability to see the invisible, to believe in the impossible, and to receive gratefully as a gift what the masses would see as incredible or impossible, I would say. And that's what all these different thinkers are talking about in their slightly different language. You need to be thinking about the image, thinking about the vision, the overarching vision. You need to think of the direction that you're going, even though that nobody else can see it. And that's the point. You are the only person that have actually been given that image, nobody else. They're already stuck in their downward spiral patterns. You've got the positivity. You need to keep moving on that direction. And that's the only way out of it. So, to reiterate, as we've got to the 8-minute mark, my visions are professional. I certainly want to be a freelancer, monetizing this channel, and having multiple streams of income. That's the big vision. Second thing, be able to travel, see new countries, see new cultures. I bet long-term goal would be to have family, minimum 3 children. Yes, whoever's out there, that's going to help me on that journey. And the other thing that Bob talks about to try and get out of this or cycle of resentment or cycle of patterns that you're thinking. One, he talks about you have to create a decent environment for that to happen. But the other thing he talks about is these affirmations. Now, I've talked about this in a previous podcast with Jamie McBrearty, who I interviewed so kindly. I am in harmony with my goal. I think it, I feel it, and I act on it now. Everything I desire is moving towards me because I am taking inspired action daily and I love it. I am in harmony with my goal. I think it, I feel it, and I act on it now. Everything I desire is moving towards me as I am taking inspired action daily and I love it. This repetition of doing this. I want to show you. Like last week, I was writing this left-handed. Okay? In my jotter. So I'm using new thought patterns, using my left hand because I'm actually right-handed. Not probably come the other way around. But otherwise, the barrage of external forces will take you away from that thought patterns, from that image, from that vision. You need to be disciplined enough and also regularly going through this material and writing things down and keep it on your mind. And that, for me, in a very distracted world, is a tough thing. And that's what I'm going to leave it with you today. We're at the 10-minute mark. But only way out of resentment, keep a clear image.